What's going on, everybody? This is your girl K Rich, and as always, I'm coming at you from a PK perspective. All right. So today, I've had some really good conversations, probably some partial venting. Just a whole lot has transpired in the last, couple of days when it comes to teachings and just learning new things. And so we have in the ministry that I'm involved in, we have a men's and a women's chat, a men's and a women's call where we all get on Zoom and we just, talk about different topics from those perspectives. There's I'm always down for a great conversation. I love good conversation. I am a conversationalist. I would consider myself that. And I love good topics to discuss because there's so many perspectives, so many different vantage points, so many different lived lives that are then going through these biblical concepts. And it's really awesome to see how people conceptualize all those different topics and aspects. And so it's always good for me. I love those type of conversations. Our conversation we had yesterday, because it's Mondays. So if you want to join, it's Monday night, 7 o'clock. I will post the information in this video. But as we were going into the topic, it was about, it was actually about relationships and stuff like that. I'm not the biggest, let's talk about relationships type of person, but, it was good topics, and I had quite the bit to say. And there are certain occasions when I have a lot to say. Sometimes those occasions are when I'm going to be wrong or when I'm going to be a little bit controversial. And I really don't like to do that all the time, but it's great when you're bringing out truth, biblical truth, foundational truth, stuff like that. So we were talking about that, and as I was listening to everybody else's, because I was like, I'm going to let everybody else, kind of say, and then if I have something I'll jump in because I like to listen. At the midway point, I was sitting there and in my spirit was just like, just don't say anything. Just listen today. Don't say anything. And it was a little bit frustrating. It was a little bit irritating. It was one of those ones where if you're knowing someone is right or wrong, you don't always have to correct them. And so God was showing me that. And after the call, when I was on my own, in my own little time, and I was kind of like, that was interesting to have not said anything. And so God was like, sometimes you have to allow people to hear something a certain way so that they can conceptualize it and grasp it before you give them the corrections in what it is that they're doing or saying wrong. And he brought me to the milk and meat, right? Milk is milk. It's not going to, and it's not designed to fully sustain you, right? So a baby is going to drink milk, but after a while, that milk is not a sustaining sustenance. It's not enough. It's not giving the nutrition that baby needs as it's now becoming, going from, NIC to, an infant to a toddler to, whatever the development process that they're going on next. But if you were to say, all right, you're a human being and just try to shove meat down the baby's throat, you will be doing more harm to that baby than you would be benefiting them, even though eventually meat is where you're going to be. And so it was like, no, just allow them and be quiet. Humble yourself enough to say it's better to allow them to understand it, to grasp it, than to just go in and correct the error that may be in there, that is kind of in there. It's not a blaring error, but it's error. I also was like, okay, trying to explain it to my best friend. I was like, if you ever have like a child, I've worked with kids, I don't have any of my own, but when they get that little booklet or the thing with the lines and they're going to write their name, right? And that child's going to write their name down over and over and over, right? the first couple times, they may have the first line right, the A is right, but the T is wrong. They didn't, capitalize it right. You're not going to look down and be like, oh, this is wrong. This is how you write your name. Like, you're going to traumatize that child. You're going to traumatize that individual. You're going to look down and see the effort there, understand where they are, and commend them on what they've done so that they can continue to develop that skill set and get the penmanship that they need. But if you just come right at them right at that point, you can really destroy and mess up their concept of themselves, of what's going on, of what they're doing wrong, of what they're doing right. So there has to be some wisdom in how we minister, when we minister, when to correct, what to say, when to just be quiet. And I was just thankful to be able to hold on and just listen, to be able to see those different perspectives. So I guess I'm saying all of that to say we have to allow people the ability to develop, to become who they are, to make the smaller, I'll say missteps, not mistakes, but the smaller missteps of imperfection so that they can come to a place of maturity. If you're trying to make somebody be perfect, fresh out of the womb, if you're trying to make a babe in Christ be completely perfect and you're correcting and we're never building up and we're never allowing them to grasp or have a certain a level of understanding to grow, because we all started back there. Everybody started on milk. Every person on the planet drank milk, and everyone in this faith walk, in this a growth and development, started at that milk place. So you can't turn into a scholar without going to a point of being at milk. And then you developed, and then you grew, and then you were groomed, and then you were taught, you became a student, you studied, and you got to the point where now you can do meat. So let's not cut people down, new babes in Christ, people who are non-believers. Let's not cut people down, but let's love them enough to allow them to be where they are and grow from that point, and be mature enough within ourselves and humble enough in ourselves to say, I was once there also, and I understand, and just listen. Sometimes just listening is all that needs to take place. So that's all I wanted to share with you guys. This one was short as well. This one was pretty short as well. But I just want to share that with you guys because it made me step back and evaluate me. How am I internalizing the conversation? How am I receiving what is being said? Am I receiving this from a place of trauma? Am I receiving it from a place of lack of understanding and not just pointing you, right? How am I looking at it's self-reflection, and how am I taking it in? So I just want you guys to think about that as you're dealing with people, as you're dealing with, situations, relationships, friendships. Let's self-reflect. Let's look at ourselves and then make sure that we're not causing that damage. We're not causing the trauma that makes someone either not come back or have a skewed perspective on what's really going on and what we really need. So I want y'all to do what I want y'all to do every day, every time I come on here. And that is go be great. Peace.